Hey everyone, my name is Britt and welcome back to another episode of Chats with Britt. In this series, I'll be talking to all of your favorite booktubers, book bloggers, bookstagrammers and book talkers, and we'll be talking about what it's like being in the online bookish community, all the ins and outs, tips and tricks and so much more. And in today's episode, I'm so excited to be talking to Leora from Books with Leo. But before we continue, I would really like to thank today's sponsor, which is the Dutch publishing company Atlas Contact. They sent me a copy of De Avond is Ongemak, or translated, The Discomfort of Evening, written by Marieke Lucas Reineveld. And if you don't know, this book is actually the winner of the International Booker Prize of 2020, and it is translated in over 37 different languages, so I am pretty sure that your language will be amongst them. I haven't read it yet, but I'm so excited to read it because the plot sounds so interesting. So this story is about Jas, and she lives with her farming family in the rural Netherlands. On one winter's day, however, her brother joins an ice skating trip, but he never returns. Of course, her entire family is grieving, and suddenly Jas gets these very disturbing fantasies, and she's seeing her family disintegrate into this darkness that is threatening to derail her entire family. As you can tell, it sounds pretty dark, but I've heard some raving reviews about this book, so I'm really excited to hopefully be reading this one very soon. Thank you again so much to Atlas Contact for sending me this book. I really hope you're going to enjoy this interview with Leora. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you'll never miss a future video. But without further ado, let's meet Leora. Hey Leora, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thank you so much. So of course, we're going to be talking about BookTube and the bookish community. But first of all, can you please tell me a little bit about yourself and why you decided to start your BookTube channel?
Okay, so my name's Leora. I'm 22 years old, almost 23. I feel very old. I know it's not old. I just anyway, I had always had a YouTube channel in Dutch. And I also talked about books on that channel, but the Dutch BookTube community is very, very small. And I just felt like I could possibly reach a wider audience if I started doing it in English. And I did. It was a really difficult decision for me, actually, because I felt like there's not a lot going on the Dutch. Well, there's not a lot of Dutch booktubers that do it in Dutch, you know? So I was like, I want to keep doing that because I think it's important that somebody does it. And a lot of Dutch booktubers that do booktube in Dutch were inactive at that point. So I was really not sure how I wanted to go about it, and I wanted to do it both. So that was my intention, but I failed because running 2 YouTube channels is really difficult. So now I just do it in English, and I did reach a wider audience. And what I also like is that I just get to talk about different sorts of books and more diverse books and different people and a more diverse community. Yeah, that's why I started my BookTube channel. And about me further on, I'm an illustrator and I also do video editing and design. So all sorts of creative things. So yeah, that's me.
Also a question that I wanted to ask you, why you decided to start a new channel in English, but you reach a bigger audience, just so many more people that you can talk about books. So I do understand that. And it is sad to see that there aren't a lot of Dutch booktubers left, but it's just so clear that, you know, the majority of the book community is in English and it's happening in English.
There were definitely also opportunities for me in Dutch. So that's why I do sometimes feel a little bit sad about it, but you have to make these choices. And you know, my Dutch channel was just not only about books, it was also about art journaling and about thrifted fashion and vintage fashion. It was just a lot of different things. And I feel like it was definitely a good decision to like narrow it down more and stick to books a little bit more. So I am definitely happy about that. And, you know, I might come back someday on my Dutch channel if I find the time. Sorry about it.
But what's something about Books with Leo that you're very proud of? Do you have, for example, a favorite video or?
God. I made a video where I tried to read 1 book a day last year in February, and I really like that video because it's set up in a different way. It's not just me in front of a camera talking about something. It's like more creative shots and more creative editing, and I really, really like that. I want to make more of those videos, but they take a lot more time to make. So I'm really proud of that one. And also I'd say most of my recent vlogs I'm really happy with because I just really like documenting things in my life, and it just makes me so happy to look back at it.
Yeah, I always love just looking back at old vlogs because it's basically like a diary.
I know, like I think one of the people that watches my vlogs the most is me. It's really embarrassing, but like especially if I filmed with friends or something, it's just so fun to have that to look back on. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. And I really like that you're so into editing and you make all of your vlogs and your videos look like a little movie and it's just so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Well, I love like spending 8 hours behind my computer to edit the whole thing. I know a lot of people, it's like their least favorite thing, but like, well, obviously I also went to film school, so maybe it's a little bit different for me, but like, it's my favorite thing. I love it.
I love that, yeah, because editing is not my favorite part, but once I'm really into it, then I'm
Yes.
really into it and I'm enjoying it, but I like the filming part most. And are there any like mistakes that you've made over the course of your BookTube career, maybe with your Dutch channel or your English channel, and something that you learned from it?
I'm really not great at not giving out spoilers. I keep forgetting like it's a thing, and it's really embarrassing because people have definitely been upset with me for spoiling, for giving like major spoilers for like fantasy series or other things, and I'm just a little bit dumb, to be honest. I always sort of forget that that's an integral part of the story and it's not just something that's in the blurb already. But also I struggle with like what's a spoiler and what's not, because sometimes something is strongly hinted at and most people know already, but it's still considered a spoiler. So I've definitely spoiled some things, and I try to be more aware of that now and just, try to make sure that people have some time to click away if they don't want to be spoiled yet. So that's something I really, that's like a little mistake I might have made, yeah.
But it is difficult because also if you read the back of the book, there are definitely some things like, oh, that could possibly happen, you know, is it a spoiler or not? I totally understand. Yeah, maybe saying if someone dies in a book or, you know, who gets
It
together.
wasn't even that. Like, there was this one book where there was like a really intricate magic system, and I had read a prequel series to that. So I was explaining the whole system, but apparently in this next series, that's like an integral part of the plot. So it's like really important that you don't know because it's like a plot twist. But because I read the prequel, I already knew all of that. So everybody in the comments was like, Leora, you just spoiled the whole thing. I was like, wait, did I? So yeah, it's not handy.
Oh, well, I don't think it's like a big mistake or anything.
No,
You're aware of it now, so maybe next time you will think about it a little bit more once you're like talking about a book. But
definitely.
no, yeah, big mistakes, I think.
Well, I feel like, no, well, maybe I will definitely make mistakes, because we're all just people. And I just think it's very important to feel like your community can criticize you, definitely when it's more serious subjects. So I definitely try to be open to that and to take it like gracefully and listen to people and be open to criticism. Like, for example, I made a video where I recommended some J.K. Rowling books. It's a really old video. And I think it was like the Robert Galbraith series, like she wrote under a pen name. And somebody commented like, I understand you filmed this like a year ago, but still I feel like it's not good that you recommended her books. And so then I just pinned a comment to explain that I don't want to actively recommend her books anymore. And then I linked some articles about J.K. Rowling and why I don't support her views. And I feel like it's important that you listen to people that comment stuff like that, because they're putting themselves out there to, criticize somebody who has a platform, and that's a scary thing to do. So I think it's really brave that they chose to do that. And I think the best thing for me to do then would be to listen and not to be like, oh, I don't care. So yeah, that's definitely something I also want to keep working on and keep being open to criticism, because I do think it's really important.
Definitely that we listen to our viewers. I know you also do sponsored videos sometimes. Can you tell me a bit about that? Like, why did you decide to maybe accept or decline a specific sponsorship?
I think in the beginning I wasn't as critical as I am now, because I just felt like, oh my god, a sponsorship, that is so exciting. If you've been doing YouTube like me for over 6 years and you've never made a dime off of it, it's really exciting when it gets to be a part of your job, because like I work as a freelancer and YouTube is now a part of my job, so that's really, really cool. So in the beginning I was just like genuinely very excited and not too critical, but now I do definitely want to be more critical. Like, is the company sustainable? What do I know about the company? What do I know about other people who've worked with them? Are they ethical? Is it a product that fits me? Like, that fits my channel? Does it fit what I talk about and what I do? So I try to be more aware of those things, and I try to do more research as well. Like, how diverse is the company? It's all sorts of things that I really want to be more aware of when working with a company. So yeah, I'm definitely more critical now than I was before. Yeah.
I think that's also a good thing for your viewers, because if they can see that you're genuinely excited about the product and the company,
Definitely.
it feels a lot more natural. Because of course it's still a sponsorship, so it is like something that you say about the company, and your viewers know that you're getting paid for it. So I think it's great if it comes across naturally and they know that you really love the product.
Yeah, well, it does still feel a bit random sometimes. Like you're in the video and you're like, you know what's also like this? The company that sponsored this, and it's like that's the weirdest segue I've ever seen. But it does make me feel like a real YouTuber when I say stuff like that. So it's really funny at the same time. But I don't want to talk about products or companies that are so unlike me. That just feels weird to me. It's also weird for my viewers. So I want to, you know, be sponsored by companies that genuinely fit me and what I do online. So.
And can you give an example of a specific sponsorship that you did that you're very excited about?
Well, I'm currently having a sponsorship with Skillshare, and I'm really excited about that because I love Skillshare. Like, genuinely, I think Skillshare is so fun. There's so many creative things on there and creative lessons. And, well, as a creative myself and as an illustrator, it's so great to be able to keep developing your skills and the things you love doing. And I've also refound painting as a hobby a bit more when using Skillshare, because when something you love becomes your job, people think that's great, but it also means like all of your hobbies now feel like your job. So I think Skillshare has really helped me find some joy in that, and it's lovely that that's then also sort of simultaneously my job. I don't know. So that just makes me really happy. Yeah.
That's so great to hear. And what would you say to people who maybe want to start a BookTube channel, but they may be a bit scared, or do you have any tips or tricks?
I would definitely say that you should just go for it, because your voice deserves to be heard, and we can always use more diversity and more different people from all over the world that have different stories to tell and different books they read and different tastes. I think everybody should feel welcomed in this community, even though it's not always just rainbows and sunshine. And I also feel like you don't need the most expensive equipment or the most expensive editing equipment. If you just use your phone, film by daylight, you know, you don't need the prettiest, most amazing bookshelf either. Like when I started BookTube, I owned like 5 books maybe. So, and as long as you love books and you love reading or listening to books, you should be able to just start a channel and go for it. And yeah, I'd also say don't be too critical of the way you speak and like your mannerisms, because other people don't see those little things you hate about yourself. They really don't. So that's something I definitely struggled with when I was younger. And yeah, it's just other people really don't, like, they don't notice stuff like that. So you shouldn't worry about it. And you're going to make so many amazing friends in the BookTube community. That's one of my favorite things about the community. So that's definitely something you should be able to look forward to.
This is really like cool, because in my last interview with Gavin, I asked him the same question, and he said, be happy doing it. And it's so great to see that you also kind of convey this message of, if you want to start BookTube, really be happy, you know, doing it, and because it's your passion and you just love books so much. Yeah, and I think that's such a beautiful thing about the whole BookTube community, is that everyone has this, you know, love for books, and we can
it's so nice to find all these people that are just as enthusiastic about words on paper as you are. It's really great. It feels like walking through a door and coming home to a house full of family you never knew you had. It's really fun.
Exactly. And what would you say is the absolute #1 best thing about the whole BookTube community?
God. I think the BookTube community can be really fierce. They really stand for something, and they have lots of opinions, which I think is really great, actually, because people are they're not scared to say what they think. And I think that all pushes us to be better as human beings and as readers and reviewers as well, and to be more aware of the biases we take into reading a book, because obviously your experience is going to be different based on your own sort of frame you have on the world. And I think BookTube has definitely made me more aware of that, which is really valuable. And I also think that it's just really nice to connect with all different sorts of readers across like the world and make all these different friends that are all so excited about reading. And BookTube has also definitely opened me up to more genres and different types of books. So for example, I've started reading a lot more comics and graphic novels since being in the book community, which I think is super exciting because I never realized like that's also a part of reading and that's also really fun. And the same with middle grade. I used to consider it like kids books, like why would you read kids books as an adult? But like I love it. I love it so much. They're so wonderful to read and make me feel so warm inside. So those are definitely things that the book community has brought me.
I love that because in the beginning of BookTube, when it just started, that's like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, it was just
We've both been on YouTube for such a long time.
It felt like it was just, you know, it just started. It was quite simple, just showing the books that they read and how much they enjoyed it. But I feel like over these last few years, BookTube has just become so much more in depth, and people are analyzing, you know, the books a lot more. And I think it's really interesting to see how much we're also growing in terms of how we think about books and, you know, being critical of books and authors. I think that's a very cool thing about BookTube.
I definitely feel like there were already a lot of critical reviewers back then on BookTube. I just didn't know of their existence because I was like 16. I was just reading the Mortal Instruments, not being bothered at all, you know? So yeah, we've definitely grown.
I love that. Yes, exactly. And of course, you are also part of the bookstagrammers.com community. What made you decide to join?
I think it's very exciting that there's a platform that is trying to bring more people in the book community together and also help them maybe make money off of their hobby, because a lot of book reviewers do work and sponsorships for free. And I think a lot of them maybe are also a little bit vulnerable sometimes because they're very young and they don't realize that what they do could be considered a job as well and could be done professionally as well. Well, I definitely did not realize that when I was younger. I was just like, oh my God, free books, you know, or like free jewelry. I don't care about anything else. And that's fine. Like that should be able to exist as well next to this platform, I think, because if you're 16, you should be able to get a review copy, or even if you're older, like everybody should be able to do this. But I think it's really nice that if you do want to make some extra money off of it, or if you are maybe considering it as a career, then this is a really nice stepping stone to getting close to that and also to meeting more people inside of the book community. And I also like that they're not gatekeeping your amount of following before you join, so you don't have to have a specific amount of followers. So I think that's really nice.
Yeah, it's exactly that everyone can join.
Yeah.
And talking about goals in the future, because of course you just started on this platform as well, bookstagrammers.com, but do you have any goals for the future of your channel or just your entire social media presence?
I do notice that sometimes I feel like, God, I should grow and grow and grow and upload more, and I get like a little bit overexcited maybe. And I noticed that that's very overwhelming for me because like being a presence online and also being partially your job can be very tiring and you can get sucked into it a little bit much. So I try to focus more on my joy for my job and like the things that I love about it instead of growing and pushing myself to build a platform and being a brand. I try to just be more mindful with what I upload, and like it's more important to me that I really love the content I make than that I upload 20 videos a week. Well, I'll never upload 20 videos a week, but you get what I mean. So for example, now I'll just like skip an upload day but do visit my mum more, you know. So I think that's something I've become more aware of, because you can get really sucked into this whole thing and be like, I want to grow, I want to get more followers, and I feel like that can really ruin your pleasure of reading. Same with like trying to read as much as possible. That can really ruin like how much you actually love reading. If you're trying to push yourself to read 18 books a month, it's not fun anymore. So I try to be more aware of that. So that is actually something I would like me to be better at in the future, instead of having like goals for other things. Like, of course, I still have goals. Like I want to make my web shop more independent and more like my own web shop instead of on Etsy, stuff like that. My web shop is also connected to my BookTube, for anybody wondering. I sell bookmarks and illustrations, bookish stuff. So that's definitely a goal I do have, but I also want to be more mindful of the way I present myself online and the way I upload, and especially the way that has an impact on me and my mental health. So that's something I've definitely been more aware of. That was so rambly.
No, rambly answers are the best ones. I love that. So you're definitely focusing more on the quality instead of the quantity, and also the quality just of, you know, not only your videos, but just the whole quality of the entire sort of everything surrounding your channel and your own mental health and your own.
But more especially how it makes me feel, because I struggle with anxiety a lot, and social media is not always great for that, because it's a perfect tool to compare yourself to other people, and I don't want to do that as much anymore. So yeah.
That's a very good thing to realize. Oakful. Also for just booktubers or people in the book community who are just starting out, that the things that they're seeing in those videos or on Instagram are just the highlights of people's days. Like most of the time it's just a highlight. So it's just so important that we realize and that we shouldn't compare ourselves to someone who's looking always like happy or they're having the best day. That's definitely something good to think about.
It's difficult too. I feel like we've discussed this before because we're friends. Like we've discussed this in private. It's really difficult if you struggle with mental health like I do. Like, I don't want to pretend I'm always happy and always thriving, because I'm really, really not. I have really difficult times sometimes. But I also don't feel like I should hang all my trauma and struggles out there on the internet, because that wouldn't be healthy either. So it's really difficult for me sometimes, like, where is the balance in that? Because I don't want to pretend I'm always happy, but at the same time, the online world is sort of a refuge for me too, because on there I can just exist and do fun stuff, you know? So like, I'm not sure what will be the best balance, but for now, I just try to make content that makes me happy and feel calm. And I get a lot of messages actually from people who love my vlogs, and they say stuff like, oh, I've been feeling really alone during these times, or I've been really stressed and your vlogs bring me so much peace. And that makes me so happy, because like, I see myself in them, because I've been there and I'm still there sometimes. So that's really nice.
Isn't that such a beautiful thing about the whole book community? If people comment and send you messages, I would much rather have like 10 comments and 2 subscribers, you know, like a lot of subscribers and no comments. I think just the whole interaction that we have with viewers and other booktubers is so beautiful.
It's really beautiful. I love that. Like, especially when you get long comments, like people telling you all about the books they've read and the books you talked about that they've read because of you, and now they've lent those books to their mum. It's like, that makes me so happy. I don't know why. It's just really funny to read and so heartwarming. Like, oh my God, they read that because of me.
It really is. I love it. And since we're talking about books, can you please recommend us a book that you recently read and absolutely loved?
So I'm currently reading Legendborn by Tracy Dion, and I've really, really been enjoying that. In the beginning, I wasn't sure if I liked it. I was like, I don't know. It really felt like a lot of YA I'd read before, but the element of the main character being Black really brings something else to this story, because she has a really different experience in these like dark academia stories because of all the privileged people and like the way she fits into that society, that magical society. And then also some witchy elements came into the book, which made it really extra great, because I love any book about witches. That makes me really, really happy. And also the main character is so funny, and like the romance and her going to university and discovering and just living her life, being happy but also having struggles. I thought it was really, really nice. I haven't finished it, but like the magic and the witchy elements are really, really great. So I've really, really been enjoying that. And I've also read a really cool graphic novel recently, since I talked about graphic novels earlier anyway. It was called Eat and Love Yourself by Sweeney Boo, and it was about eating disorders, so definitely a trigger warning for that. But it was also really about loving yourself and overcoming mental struggles and struggles you have in your 20s, discovering who you are, what you want to do, who you want to be. So it was something that really made me reflect on myself as well. I've never struggled with eating disorders, but I have struggled with anxiety and with like, God, what am I doing with my life? So I really, really enjoyed this graphic novel, and the art style is so, so, so beautiful. Like the color scheme, I could stare at it for days as an illustrator. It makes me really, really happy. So that's definitely a recommendation as well.
Amazing. I'm definitely going to check them out because I haven't read either of them yet.
Yeah, and I think both of them are on Scribd actually. So
yes. Well, thank you so much, Leo, for joining me today. I had so much fun just chatting and just hearing even more, because there are still some things, even after being friends for over a year now, new things.
Oh, it's our friend anniversary. When is it actually? I don't know. We should look it up.
But I just loved just hearing even more about your booktube career and your booktube experience. Thank you so much. I hope you had fun, and thanks for joining me and taking the time out of your day to chat to me.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'll see you soon. Bye, Leo. I really hope you liked this chat with Leora just as much as I did. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below telling me which booktuber, book blogger, book talker, or bookstagrammer I should talk to next. Thank you again so much for watching. I really hope you're having a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next video.